So for inhibition, in week one, actually the inhibition is going to be the same throughout the entire month program. But we are going to address the ankle restriction by first foam rolling the soleus and gastroc. So you're going to take a foam roller for the self-myofascial release, and you're going to place it on the back of the desired calf. For this individual, we're going to do both, but I'll just demonstrate one. You're going to roll up and down, switching out tight spots. They'll most likely be on the lateral portion based off this compensation. So you're going to eventually find a tight spot, which I have right here. Make sure that foot's relaxed. You're going to hold this just for 30 seconds. You can adjust the pressure by lifting your butt up, putting your butt down. Be a lot more. You can pin that leg down with your other leg. And you're just going to hold that spot for 30 seconds until you get a release. Like I said, they're going to do this every day they come and visit for treatment. And this is going to be throughout the entire month program. The next one we're going to do is the biceps femoris, specifically the lateral portion due to that feet turning out. So you're just going to slide the femoral up a little bit, just above the knee, and you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to roll looking for that tight spot. Once you find that, make sure your legs relax. Just hold that for 30 seconds. Then the last inhibition exercise is going to be a TFL. So you're going to take the foam roller, and you're going to get on the lateral portion of the thigh, and then you're just going to search up and down. There'll be a lot more probably on the upper end of it. So once you get that tight spot, make sure you're down on your elbow. You're just going to sit on that spot again as well. You can adjust pressure by lifting this leg up and putting all your weight on the leg, or you can take some off by using this leg to distribute some of your weight. So once you're done with the inhibition exercises, we're going to go to the lengthening exercises, which are going to remain the same through the entire program as well. So for this, we're going to first stretch the soleus. So you're going to get the stagger stance. You're going to make sure that back foot is pointing straight. Slight bend in the knee. And you're going to lean forward to feel stretch in the back of your calf. Making sure the heel stays flat. You're going to hold this for 30 seconds as well. You're going to do both legs of all these exercises. But after you're done with the soleus stretch, you're going to do a gastroc stretch, which is going to be the same position. You're just going to walk that back knee out. Keep your foot straight, heel flat, lean forward. Hold this one again for 30 seconds. And then we're going to do a TFL stretch. You're going to stand up in a staggered stance. You're going to externally rotate that back hip a little bit. You're going to partial lunge, leaning forward. And then you're going to reach up and over, making sure you have a posterior tailgate where you're tucking in the butt and squeezing the arm. You're just going to hold that stretch for 30 seconds as well and do both sides for all of these. And you're going to do these lengthening techniques as well each day they come and visit. Stop. All right, so for activation exercises for week one, we're going to use a prone hamstring curl to activate that medial hamstring. It's most likely underactive with the dominance of the biceps femoris. So to make it a little easier, we're going to start in the prone position. You can do this with a cable and or just a prone hamstring curl. So we're going to do one leg at a time for this exercise, just to make sure isolating that one side of the body. So you're going to get to the stationary machine, isolation machine, set it up to your parameters when you're going to lay in a prone position. Here, all you're going to do is just curl up, hold it for 2, slowly come back down for 4. Up for 2, hold for 2, down for 4. You're going to do both legs with that, and then you're going to do clamshells. We'll be right over here. For the clamshell, you're going to get a sideline position, probably up against the wall. And bend your knees. Make sure your feet are flat against the wall, your back and shoulders are flat. And from here, all you're going to do is make sure your feet stay together. And you're going to rotate that top leg outward. Hold it for 2 seconds up top. Slowly control it back down.
with all the exercises for week 1, the progression is just going to be from day to day by increasing the reps or weight whenever you're working with them individually, but we're going to have them do the same activation exercises the whole first week just so they can get used to them and better isolate those muscles by not learning new movements each day.
Continuing along with our activation exercises, we're going to start the bridge progression on a box, just to take some stability aspect out of it. So you're going to have them set their upper back on a box, and they're going to start with their hips in a flex position. And all you're going to do from here is activate that core, fire up using their glutes, squeeze the top for 2, and control it back down for 4 seconds. Up for 2, hold for 2, down for 4. Alright, so for posterior tibialis activation, you can use a band or a cable. We're going to use a band for this one. This is a black band, so it's a little more resistance. But this activation exercise is going to be done throughout the entire program, just to really focus on activating that tibialis posterior muscle and tendon. So in the book, it demonstrates them laying on their side, but you can have them in a seated position. Really, just you want them doing just the inversion of the ankle. So in this video, I'm going to be seated, so my leg is stabilized, and you'll see that I'm just inverting the ankle with resistance in the opposite direction. So I'm completely going the opposite direction of resistance. See right here, just going to actually move this band up a little bit. Invert in, hold for 2, slow it back out. One's integration exercises. We're going to start with lateral band walking. All the exercises are going to remain the same again for the first week and just progress in reps before they change throughout the rest of the month. But for lateral band walking, you're going to get a resistance band or 2, but you're going to place it just above the knee, and then you're going to make sure they maintain that arch and their feet as forward as they can. Get in an athletic position with the hips slightly bent, core activated, and then they're just going to try and take slow and controlled steps. Make sure they come set between each of them. So you don't want them coming up and down the line. You want to maintain roughly the same height. You don't want those steps getting too close to each other. So they'll do all the reps one way, then they get on with that, they'll go back the other way. Once we're done with that, we're going to go to the multi-planar balance and reach. You can use anything to set up. I just have some light dumbbells set up as my landmarks. We're going to maintain balance, try to maintain an arch. And you're just going to try to reach with that opposite leg towards the front cone, to the side, straight back. So then after the single leg balance and reach, we're going to do a ball squat. So just make sure they're staying in roughly vertical position. Place the ball up against the wall just to add stability, mid to upper back. And then you're just going to have them try to keep their feet as forward as they can to prevent that feet turn out. And squat down in a slow, controlled manner. Come back up.
Alright, so for week 4's activation exercises, we're going to do them over on the other side of the gym on a cable stack. I'm just going to explain all of them first just because you cannot hear anything because the speaker's right over by it. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to be a standing hamstring curl. So I'm going to attach a band on my leg and I'm going to stand and I'm going to curl up, trying to limit my hip flexion, just make it only that knee flexion and slowly control it down, which just increases the demand stability-wise, and you can also isolate the medial side by kind of focusing on bringing your leg towards the outside of your glute. So after that, we're going to do a glute medius activation, where I'm going to still use the same cable to bring the weight from this side across my body and bring my leg into the abducted position. So once I'm done with that, then I'm going to do gluteus maximus activation on the same cable stack, just by going into a hip extension. We want to make the extension only come from my hip versus flexing that lumbar spine or extending my spine. So you really want to stay neutral upright and only with the extension of the hip. So we're going to do those 3 exercises right now, but I will not be talking during them. I'll just be demonstrating the tempo and execution of them.
So for week 4, continuing on with the now the integration portion of it for the last part of the corrected exercise, we're gonna use a physio ball to do a bridge. Also combine it with a leg curl, just for kind of with the whole body in unison and make it stabilize itself. So you're gonna start with the knees roughly at 90 degrees. You're gonna flex that core. You're gonna bridge it up, and from here you're gonna go out long. Curl it back in, come back to 90, let themselves down. And that's going to be 1 rep. So come back up, out long. Once you're done with that, we're going to go to a single leg squat to a box. I'm going to do it without my shoes just to add some stability. But you can kind of select varying heights and just challenge them. Do 1 leg at a time. Squat down to the box. Once we're done with that on both legs, the last integration exercise is going to be a lunge with an overhead press. So you're having to grab some dumbbells. We're going to put them at shoulder height. And we're going to lunge down. Press at the bottom. And back up. Lunge down. Press the bottom. And that's going to be the end of that week 4 exercises.